Hey everyone, you're watching the Tommy Temper Show, and hey, stuff going on. We got the Emergencies Act has been determined to be unconstitutional here in Canada. Hey, good to see everyone in the chat. Ron Volt's first in there. Big ups to you. Hey, we got some action happening from what was going on in Canada with me. Anyways, let's see what the deal is here.
Okay, well, keep walking towards Parliament buildings. To Westall Hall here.
Yes, sirree. This is action from the actual event that happened in Ottawa. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, it's been quite the event. Quite the event for sure. The convoy itself. Which I was in the convoy. Here's my hat to prove it here. Convoy to Ottawa. And this is me actually in Ottawa, right there with the convoy, doing a video alongside of the convoy. Let's watch. And the convoy itself, you know, was a bunch of guys that drove all the way across Canada to meet up with Trudeau to hash out the mandates where we were at. We weren't happy with what was going on there. And everyone was down there on their own accord, you know, like, as a group, but as individuals as well. And a lot of people were there. A lot of people. So as it turns out, the actual act itself, the Emergencies Act, has been basically by a judge overturned. And it looks like Trudeau is going to take it up to the highest court in the land, and we'll see how that works out, because as a judge looked at it already, he, you know, deemed it as being unconstitutional.
Last time he made us stand in 3 feet of snow.
So this is like big things happening here in Canada. And as you can see, there were a lot of trucks down there. This is me walking down there. You can hear me talking.
So good.
And I was there. So for me, this is pretty big news, you know, to hear that this has happened. And if one court and one judge has decided this so overwhelmingly, and I don't have the details of, you know, what he said about it, but I know it was pretty big. This is the scoop. This is what it was like on the first night when the convoy first got there.
That's the guy that's been doing that all night. I finally found him.
So, how's everyone in the chat? Let's take a look at the chat there, see how it's going. And we've got Linda Dyer in there. Woot woot, winning. Yeah, you betcha. Go hard, brother. Looks good. Dashing grandma. Good to see you in there. Proud Islander. Salute. Big ups, Jevin. Birdie to tweet. Cabin Worms. Biden 2024. Says Biden supporter there, Cam. G-Gab in there. Good to see you. Ron Volt. Smoky Sticks. Go hard, brother. Tracy Lapman. Okay, really good. Nice to see everyone popping in here. As the Emergencies Act, which was put upon the convoy, which was in Ottawa at the time, and they were actually working with the city, the truckers were, to move the convoy around to different, you know, take up less space, not interfere with things so that things could get back to normal. And in my mind, things were shut down in Ottawa on purpose, not necessarily because the convoy, yes, did affect some things, but did the whole downtown have to be shut down? Absolutely not. It was like a ploy to make things worse, in my mind, you know, that whoever shut down the whole city, you know, the whole downtown area, you know, obviously Ottawa itself, but that didn't have to be done, you know, like, sure, there were some areas that were blocked off. And the truckers were more than willing to move to different areas so that, you know, proper cars and whatever could get through.
You know, like
they parked wherever the police wanted them to park.
You got the truckers, you got the no more mandates, you got the Parliament building, and the guy flying the flag that says,
this is what it was like. This was Ottawa. This was the truckers' convoy. The convoy. Peacefully we come, united we stand. American flag there I saw. There's an F. Trudeau flag. There's Parliament Hill right there. That is the Parliament building right there, with the trucks right in front. You can't get a better shot than this right here.
hey,
This is the shot of the century here. Like if you want to take a screenshot of this, take it now, because there's what does it say? I am not racist. I am not an extremist. I am Canadian, is what that sign says. And it says F. Trudeau. There's the Parliament buildings. There's the trucks right there. There's me standing right there, videoing it right for you. And this is what is coming of age here right now. This is history. And Trudeau was trying to erase the people that were coming to Ottawa there, basically, you know, by sicking the police on everyone, calling the Emergencies Act instead of just talking to people. Really, the sad part of the whole convoy was that, okay, before the convoy even left, okay, well, maybe it had left or whatever. In the first days of the convoy, Trudeau came out and called everyone names, you know. In my mind, what stuck was terrorists, right? Called everyone, you know, a bunch of terrorists. And, you know, nobody took kindly to that right off the bat. You know, I'm pretty sure that there were some other things said, you know, like hey, racist and extremist. And there's a sign right there in front of Parliament Hill that says, no, Trudeau, I am not a racist. I am not an extremist. I am Canadian. And with that right in Trudeau's face, he still couldn't see it. He couldn't see the problem. He couldn't see the fact that he just plain snubbed Canadians, didn't listen to them, didn't even bother to have a meeting with anybody. And it was just a big shit show, right? And Trudeau, you know, you deserve to be voted out of Parliament. And you're like losing really heavily right now. And I don't have anything good to say about you. That's for sure. Trudeau, you lose.
scoop this. Anyone wants to scoop a shot off of this, a picture off of this, a screenshot off of this, just credit. Give me credit.
Shame on you, Trudeau. Shame on you for shunning me and all my friends. Or I should say, my friends and I. Shame on you, Trudeau.
That's another good shot right there.
Shame on you, Trudeau. Honestly. And to put the whole country into, you know, years of mess of still having to go over this now. And even though it's being thrown out of court, the fact that your Emergencies Act was just nothing but a fraud. And then you wanting to take it back to court again. Holy jeez. Trudeau, you've already cost this country so much money for what you did. Shame on you, Trudeau.
Okay, moving along. It's a really good footage down here, people. Probably the only one of the few people doing any decent video down here. Everyone else is doing a frickin' 2-second TikTok or something.
Which is true. At this moment when I was videoing here, there really wasn't anyone down there. anyone doing a lot of video showed up after this in time. Insecurities.
This is a truck where all the speeches were being given today. And this is just completely loaded with people here. Copy that, Jonathan. Yeah, getting bigger and bigger. That'd be good. You know, it is what it is. You know, we've got a few blocks still under gridlock here.
Wow. Yeah. So you can see, even though this is the first night, a lot of people showed up to greet the convoy. And you can see that whole area there in front of Parliament Hill is got a lot of people over there. And all along the street that I was walking on, which is Wellington, is all completely, you know, gridlocked with trucks, as well as a lot of other streets in downtown Ottawa. And yeah, it was quite the exciting time. I actually did two convoys. There was one in 2019. It was the oil and gas convoy, and that was very successful. Trudeau basically shunned that one too and didn't really talk to anyone. There were a few people in government that met up with that one. Myself, I always have said, hey, I was there with the convoy, never have said anything negative about the convoy. What people did, they did what they wanted to do. If they wanted to stay in one place, they stayed there. If they wanted to move, they moved. Everyone did what they wanted to do. Nobody was really, just being there because somebody told them. It was like everyone was there because they were sick and tired of Trudeau, his mandates, everything that had happened. And Trudeau should have talked to people. He really did the wrong thing.
Been working with the police though to open up lines and things like that. So it's not 100% gridlock by any means. Have to be able to let public ambulance, police, and that.
That's right. It wasn't 100% gridlock. But it was party time. It was fun. Oh yeah, like I was going to say, it was a highlight of my life. These two convoys that I was on, traveling across Canada twice, and for two different issues. And the first time, yeah, it was okay. There was a lot of people out there and support everywhere. But having all of that support along the way before you even hit Ottawa, it was like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people out. Every little town that you were at, it was like everyone from that town was out there to see the convoy. It was like the biggest thing since sliced bread crossing the country. And that was kind of one of the reasons that when I heard this convoy, when I got wind that this convoy was happening, I didn't really want to be an organizer or anything like that, but I wanted to be in it. I wanted to video it and to show what it was like, which I did. That's, one of the big reasons that I was there, to video what was going on, to record history, just like this is history being recorded. And this is, if you want to think this is some small event, like, look at this. This is just one little corner, one little bit of what was going on there. There were literally thousands and thousands of people in Canada, literally hundreds of thousands of people. Their lives were affected by this. People knew about this and knew what was going on with this all right around the world. It was amazing. You had to be there. had to be there. The camaraderie. Look at, like, even here, camaraderie right across Canada. The French, there's Merci right on the sign right there. And, you know, us over on the west that don't speak a word of French, you know. Everyone was there having a lot of fun. And we were all there for the same reason, because we didn't want the mandates, right? We didn't like what Trudeau was doing to us. And that's why it's not just the mandates, but do you see that sign on the truck there where it says F Trudeau? Like, that was, you know, like, everyone had that in their mind as well. It was like, F Trudeau, F you for doing this kind of crap to us. You know, like, we're pissed off, you know, and people were mad that they were locked down for such a long time. But they weren't so mad that they wanted to take over the government or cause any kind of a disturbance or fight with anyone. It was like a happy mad, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? This was the highlight of your life, not your kids, not your wife, LOL. Well, you can say what you want, you know, say what you want. You know, like, belittle what happened. This was a big thing in Canada. This was huge. In fact, this was so huge that there was spillover into the States, which, you know, affected Americans, right? And you guys had your own convoy. Yeah, mayhem and miracles, you know. Yeah, this is the actual footage of the convoy in Ottawa. This was, you know, here's my hat. 2022 is when this footage here happened. But this is of what the Emergencies Act was. Well, one of the reasons that the Emergencies Act was enacted was because there was a big party going on in Ottawa, you know, to talk to Trudeau about the mandates that he didn't want to talk to anyone about.
Oh, looky who! They came and cleaned this sidewalk a little bit better after we were here. Look at this. This was all mushy snow.
Christy B.
Right? They didn't damn well.
Top man. Big ups.
There. Really, honestly.
Got mayhem and miracles in there. Go hard, brother.
They shovel it after the event, right?
Yeah, we got Cannabis Rex in there. Well, yeah, Cannabis Rex. You say most Canadians didn't give a shit at the time. Yeah, but you know what? Most Canadians that watched any kind of news, well, actually, it was kind of shunned by the mainstream media. That's why most, you know, where your comment says most Canadians didn't give a shit, it's because this was kept off of mainstream media. They didn't really show Canadians what was going on. They were like on the side of Trudeau. They showed Trudeau and what he wanted to say, but not this. That's why you're seeing this now for the first time. Do you see a bunch of CBC cameras out there? I didn't see any. I didn't see any.
And it's not warm, by the way, either.
Like they, and of what they did shoot, they didn't put much of it on. Not until the riots happened did they start showing stuff, you know. Then CBC got involved.
Today he's hiding. I think he
Just
works
saying.
in this building these days. Well, his main building is.
Yeah, and there's Mayhem, which, you know what? I don't know Mayhem and Miracles. I never met you before, maybe a couple of months ago, right? And, you know, you're voicing your opinion on this based on what you know, which is different than Cannabis Rex, right? There you go. But, you know, I didn't coerce you into saying anything. But there's Mayhem with an idea there. Okay.
For everything down there. look at the majesty of the buildings here. Just look at this. The architecture, the history. These are iconic buildings. I don't see the military up on the west wall there. We did see the military up on this building earlier today. Again, there's something going down at 8 o'clock today. Something. I'll tell you guys here because I know there's very few people that will be listening in here. But all drivers, I said this on
we came back.
But all drivers will be advised.
Anyways, you have an idea of what it was like, well, what the horns were like. And yeah, it was noisy. If you had to live there, if you were living in a condo or something up there, you might, have a tough time getting to sleep or whatever. But, put some earplugs in and, hey, not a problem. And the truckers did negotiate.
That's correct, yeah.
Not honking their horns after a couple of days there. So there you go.
Well,
they were willing to work with the government there.
His old man's legacy is not, and his legacy will not be either.
So did this convoy get anything done?
Well, they're in military.
That's a good question. Did it get anything done? I would say no. As far as did it get anything changed with the mandates, because Trudeau, the person that everyone was there to meet, really, that's why I went there, was to meet some government official, somebody from Trudeau's office, because, it was a federal thing. Everyone was pissed off at Trudeau. You saw the flags. You knew what everyone was pissed off about. Everyone was tired of these mandates. But as it turns out, nobody was sent by the government. Nobody met with anyone. And, at the end, Trudeau put the Emergencies Act on the whole thing. So, I suppose, it made Trudeau look super bad. It was really terrible for Trudeau to do that, to use the Emergencies Act, and he should be thrown in jail for using that act like he did, right? Because he could have simply negotiated. He could have just talked. But instead, it was like, he was like his old man, which is like stake in the ground, and it's like, okay, that's it. You guys are terrorists, and I don't negotiate with terrorists, so I'm not talking with you anymore. I don't know if that was his mindset, but I'm pretty sure that that's what Trudeau thought, right? That's what he thought. And it was like being a Trudeau, a stubborn, just like his old man, very stubborn. It was like stick in the mud, and you're not going to get him to move from that. So because of that, then he has a problem, right? And the problem is a whole bunch of trucks stuck in the capital city, honking their horns and stuff, bugging him at Parliament Hill. So what does he do about it? Well, the pansy ass, instead of actually still negotiating, even after a week of them honking and doing whatever, of at least coming and talking to them and negotiating and finding out what the deal was, to negotiate them out of there, right? Which is what he could have done. Instead of doing that, he pansy ass brings out the okay, bring it up here. What's the show about here today? The Emergencies Act, okay? He brings the Emergencies Act, sicks it onto the truckers, okay? So then he could call in a whole bunch of other cops, whatever, RCMP, that come in with horses and crap like that, and, tear gas and whatever, and just really push the truckers, like, put the big push on them, right? Instead of a gain. And in fact, the big push came on at the same time that the truckers were nicely moving the trucks to different locations, right? That were working with whatever government was getting them to move the trucks so that the city could open up and be more normal, right? And do something. But really, all it would have taken was just negotiation. That's all it would have taken. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Shame on Trudeau.
So whoever it is, they're pretending to be military.
Like it was history in the making. It was people were pissed off. They were pissed off at the mandates. You might not have been, you know. And if you're not pissed off, and if you think the mandates were still great, even at that point in time, and if you think that it was great, remember this. Remember, do you think it was great that you had to get a shot in your arm, okay, and put on a mask, and to be on a record that had to be checked upon your entry to get into a restaurant? Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Do you remember having to get a shot in your arm and to put a mask on in order to be allowed into a restaurant, and to have a card that you had to show on your smartphone, like whatever it was, you had to show the shot on your phone to get into a restaurant. Do you remember that? That's where we're at this point in time.
Yeah, it's
like this was bullshit. But you bent over and did it, right? And you know, the worst part about it is, like, it would have been, get it if you want it. If you want it, get it. If you don't want it, okay. But don't make it so that you force somebody to get it to go into a restaurant. Like, that is like way government overkill. That was the end of it. Like, really, to go to anywhere to get into a sporting event or something like that you had to have a government card or something. Like, holy jeez.
Trudeau's personal police force. Could be anything. But as you can see, there's still lots of people down here. Earlier today, this whole thing was, I would say, about 3/4 full. The whole thing here, this area, was about 3/4 full of people, and there was no other counter protesting being done here. Counter protesting would not last here at all. Counter protesting would be down the road.
Oh yeah, they're like, as everyone was here, all the truckers, like, it wasn't a nice calm party thing. It was a feeling of, you know, a little bit of terror at all times by the protesters. Everyone was like in a state of fear, like as if something was going to happen, like the cops were going to do something. They were going to come in. They were going to start towing trucks. They were going to start reefing people out of trucks. You know, like, that's what the thought was with everyone. Like, it was definitely, everyone was on edge that was down there. It wasn't just a fun and games thing, even for the protesters down there. Remember, it was a protest.
No, I didn't.
It was a legal protest. Well, you know, there were illegal parts of the protest, but overall, look at all these people walking around, whatever, all legal.
I'm doing a live video down here, so that's what I was doing. So I don't know anything about trucks to the barricade. But yeah, you know, we're a little bit worried that something might be happening at 8 o'clock. My partner there, he wants us to get the hell out of Dodge before 8 o'clock.
Okay, because you hear me talking right there, where I'm saying that something's going to happen at 8 o'clock. So there's even right there, as I'm sitting or standing there, I've got word that something with the police is going to happen at 8 o'clock, and to be like on edge or whatever, and to do something different.
Well, I better be behind the wheel when the cops do come at 8 o'clock, so we'll see if that actually happens. But what do you mean? You mean the cops are going to come to every one of these trucks' doors and ask them to, or politely ask them to leave? Well, that's an awful lot of trucks to do that to. Plus, what's the use telling someone in the middle of the pack to move, right? You'd have to do it like one truck at a time. It would be a monumental task.
Yeah, well, 90% of the trucks were on the road, you're right. But the biggest part of it was you had a lot of trucks that were crossing the border, right? Those border crossings is where a lot of the hiccups were with mandates.
From what I see here, because they're just completely lined up here, and a lot of them are like, no, I'm not leaving.
But it wasn't just a trucker thing. Like, you're making it a trucker thing. You know, like when you're saying, well, 90% of the trucks are on the road. It wasn't a trucker thing. It wasn't a trucker protest. The truckers were in the convoy, okay, and the convoy was going to Ottawa, but it wasn't the truckers. It wasn't a trucker thing. It was a Canadian people thing. It was a people thing. The people. And why do you think there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people lined up on the side of the road? Those weren't truckers that were lined up on the side of the road. They weren't. It wasn't a trucker thing. The convoy was a visual element to identify a problem that was existing in the country. That's what it was all about. Like, a lot of this, you didn't even think about. You haven't even thought about what this was all about, have you?
The ones that were going to leave already left.
You know, and it all boiled down to, sure, the people of the country didn't like what was going on, but it was the truckers that were the lightning rod, you know, for the whole thing, that ended up doing it, going to Ottawa and protesting in Ottawa for the rest of the country. And that's why you saw there were literally thousands and thousands of people that showed up every day in support of the truckers in their trucks in Ottawa. And that was like the rest of the story. That was like the rest of the country coming in support of the truckers. And if you're going, well, there was hardly anything going on. Well, I don't think so.
Ones that are not going to leave.
Because even today, which, hey, what's on my hat? 2022? Even today, like 2 years later, that it still is being talked about and is part of history, being that the actual Emergencies Act was just thrown out by a judge in court. So that's pretty big news, actually.
Hey, there's always a guy playing an air guitar.
And, you know, the Catamus Rexes of the world would say, well, no, it's just a bunch of old white truck drivers down there, right? That's all it was about.
Let's go! Let's go! You got that right. Let's go, Trudeau. Fuck you, Trudeau! Wow. That's the sentiment of the crowd down here today.
Yeah, but I would beg to differ.
They're really adamant that Trudeau is not a guy to be messed with in the Lake Department.
What about the written demands to overthrow the government? There were no written demands to overthrow the government, Cannabis Rex. Go and actually look into that, okay? And that information is wrong. And that was like blown completely out of context. Go and actually read what that so-called letter was about. It wasn't a demand. It was called a letter, okay? And there was a letter that a dude was taken down to the Senate. He wanted to take it to the Senate, to get the Senate to look at a letter. That's all it was. So go and look at what the letter was, okay? And it's being blown out of proportion into the convoy was on a road to take over the government. That's bullshit, okay? And that's being debunked already. Go and look at the letter, okay? And, yeah, it was a thing. It happened. They got there. The trucks got there. That's for sure.
Safety definitely first.
And there was a lot of support. And there was a lot of support by virtue of the fact that you know how much was donated, right? And how much was confiscated by the government. And the government also confiscated a lot of bank accounts of people that were, well, I don't know, that maybe received money. I don't know exactly how many people had their bank accounts absconded by the government. But now that, and it was because of the Emergencies Act, and now that the Emergencies Act is being thrown out by way of court, now all of those people that had their bank accounts suspended by the government can now sue the government. So all of those people are going to sue the government. Shame, shame, shame. You know what? The only thing I can think of is that Trudeau might somehow weasel a corrupt judge at the federal level when it goes up to the federal court, and end up overturning this latest ruling. But the judge on this ruling here was pretty much in thumbs up with a lot of lawyers that I saw commenting on this, and that would really, really piss off a lot of lawyers out there if the federal court ends up overturning this more recent ruling that just happened. But there's one more court that it has to go through. But if it survives that final federal court, then and gets turfed out, well, then everyone that did have their bank accounts closed down can absolutely sue the government. Let's see what happens.
You got a little moving and shaking going on there with that blue truck.
I don't know a lot about what people got charged with. You're asking about Chris Barber. Good question. People got charged with some pretty minuscule things, like just anything they could be charged with, but very small charges, but charges that, do have some pretty meaningful consequences, and therefore people ended up in jail for a while,
Trudeau, somebody's mad at you.
Go hard. Carry on with your fears and conspiracies. I don't really have a lot of conspiracies, really, honestly. If you sit there and listen, I have my thoughts on things, and you might think they're conspiracies, but most conspiracy theories I've, pretty much thought out. Like, is 9/11 real? Yes. Is G5 cell phone going to kill you? No. Okay, so to give me a conspiracy, whatever, something or other, and but don't talk about something that'll give me a strike. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff out there that you talk about, and even talking about it will give you a strike from the platforms. I don't want that to happen. Sable, what's going on? Hey Sable, you should be like me. Just thrash out the same old material. Stuff that you've shown people before. It works. Yeah, that was a lot of honking. Listen to that. Not Ernie, Christy B.
Okay, so I guess the deal is you walk way over here, and then they have barricades over here, so you can't go out. You can't walk out of here. Okay. So I have to walk over somewhere way over there, where that guy is with the flag there, to get out of here. But hey, this gives you an idea of what's going on here. The show is in front of the Parliament building here tonight.
Yeah, this is a stream from when the convoy reached Ottawa.
There's not too much in the way of police presence. Pretty much all of
This is like when the convoy first got to Ottawa. It's not today, no. This is about a couple of years old.
Nowhere to be seen. You got a few of the yellow
2022.
police here, which I would call them the parliamentary police.
But the whole thing is that the like what's happened here is the Emergencies Act has been deemed as being unconstitutional. That just happened. Their word was just out on that today. So that's why I'm doing a little bit of a show here where we're showing what it was that the act actually was enacted for. Like, look at this is why Trudeau enacted the Emergencies Act. Oh my gosh. I can't believe how much of an emergency this is. It's like, wow, this guy here deserves to be thrown in jail. Even the guy that's doing the video should be thrown in jail for being such a bad guy. It's like, call a national emergency, call in the horses.
We need real news, not fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Cannabis Rex, your job is to make everyone, an upstanding citizen the way you think they should be. Well, not everyone thinks like you. Like if you're Marxist, Leninist or something, no thank you.
But it's showtime down here at any moment because these guys are always honking their horns.
Or you hang over in that Marxist channel there. You might be. The Marxist troll channel. How about that? Well, you don't have. Hey, Cannabis Rex. I don't have to research anything because I was there. I was in the convoy. I rolled with the convoy. I was in Ottawa. Probably the proof that I was in Ottawa is the fact that I actually am doing this video. I'm the one that did this video.
Okay, let's see what my buddies are doing over at the warm-up tent.
Like, look at, it's like pretty evident. If you know something different than I do, well, news to me. You must have been at a different event or something. In fact, were you even there? Probably not.
What kind of news is this?
Usually people that know more about you about something that happened were people that, weren't even there, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it ends up happening with, with all of these kind of events and stuff, I think this is like some kind of this could be CBC or something like that, or CTV, or one of the big news outlets. But you'll notice that there's no markings at all on the camera. Nobody's wearing any badges, any insignia. Nobody is saying. I actually asked this guy who he is with, and he wouldn't tell me who he's with. So, like, it was, and pretty. Everyone that was there was pretty suspicious of some of these news crews that showed up without any insignia. And it was like probably the Canadian Broadcasting or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, those were the kind of guys that everyone kind of was watching pretty suspiciously to see what they were up to. And then when we were doing interviews with people, what kind of questions and that they were asking, trying to get that slant on the story, you know what I mean? So yeah, that kind of stuff was going on there for sure. There was all kind of different crews and whatever down there. Kind of interesting.
But, everybody takes these things differently. Myself, I kind of take it personally because I've been kind of misaligned by mainstream media as well. There you go. Look at that. Trudeau's actually having fireworks on Parliament Hill today, and it's a pretty good deal. And of course, the police are just letting it go, which is perfect. I love that. Police are actually doing a good job. I can't fault.
Hey, let's bring somebody up on panel here. Right.
Like he said.
Let me copy this. Stand by here. Yeah, let's turn on subs only, if we could. If there's a mod that can turn on subs only, please. Hang on.
How rude can mainstream media be? How can you have a whole frickin' bunch of people out,
terrible
whole crew
mainstream
with
media.
Security, right?
Oh, I'm talking about that crew back there.
You ask them
the mainstream media crew, but you ask them who they're with, and they won't tell you who they're with. Like, don't you find that to be pretty incriminating
So they get their few sound
in
bites
itself,
and
you know.
shots and,
But
whatever,
I asked
video of me
that
there.
crew back there who they were with,
then
and
my
they wouldn't
face
tell
will
me.
be on CBC there tonight.
So,
It'll say something like,
But yet
you know,
they're
the
there
typical
trying to video what
bar
everyone else is
word.
doing. So, you know, they were allowed to do that.
T
Nobody,
word.
you know, harassed them or whatever, but it is what it is.
just basically scumbag 2-bit crap. You know, CBC and the rest of them are just like children, you know. All they want to do, they're like a child in a school ground. It's like, oh, let's go find out something about that guy, and let's just spear him all over Canada.
Okay. I got the
That's what the
StreamYard up
mainstream
here.
media does. That's why, you know, we're getting awfully weary about them, you know? Like, really, I wouldn't have said anything to that guy. You know, if you just said, yeah, it was CBC, well, I might have said something else. But, hey, if they don't want to...
Yeah. But I probably said something to him that was inappropriate, so...
We know we'll do a harmful...
But whatever. Actually, I'm not really too inappropriate, even at the best of times.
So I don't want them to be anywhere close to where I am. And they were definitely, as you could see, pretty
Yeah,
much hounded
got the
out.
wheels rolling, that's for sure.
Police line was put in front of them.
That's what it's all
And
about.
They were pretty much, let to leave the area
Oh, who's this guy here?
on their own accord.
Crazy James. Hang on, let me bring this up here.
But they did follow my suggestion.
Crazy James, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we gotcha.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my echo off.
Moving
So is
There
this,
you go.
Is this coverage from like a year ago?
Well, this
I
is
don't know.
from 2022. Like, I think it's February 2022 when the convoy was actually in Ottawa. So this is like the first day that the convoy got to Ottawa.
Okay.
So this is kind of showing you, like, sort of like the first night, what it was like, where you had lots of people showed up to welcome the convoy, that sort of thing. And this is sort of the remnants as it's sort of getting darker at nighttime.
So where's it's like a 12th man or 10th 12th man? Should be around.
Alaska.
Jared.
Oh, yeah. 12th man is somewhere. I saw him in the chat there. So he's hanging out there somewhere. Yeah, were you at the convoy at all? Or are you...
Oh, we
Canadian.
followed. We followed the. No, I'm in the States here. We followed it though. We watched a lot. of the
okay. Gotcha. Oh, here's Noodles.
Hey,
Up
Tommy.
to his thing there. Hey, Noodles, how you doing?
Good. So, you know, I asked you the other day about the panels, and I'm sorry if I brought that to your channel, or I thought that's kind of the direction you were going. And, you know, I wanted to apologize to you about that. That kind of ruined it.
Oh, about what? About asking about a panel?
Well, I mean, like, you know, a lot of times you bring up, or I do, I'll bring up topics and we'll start a fight, and, like, you know, I thought it was good for the show. So,
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I don't mind it at all. You know, I don't mind people fighting. I just don't want, you know, a vileness where I don't want people to use my panel to target other people that aren't here and call them vile names. You know what I mean? Call them out. I don't want that. Put it that way. So,
I want to thank you though, because a lot of I got a lot of people from your channel coming over now, hanging out. Brett comes over there once in a while. I love Brett. Brett's a good guy. D comes over every once in a while, so I appreciate it.
right on. That's good. Yeah, well, and you never know who else is lurking, because there's plenty of people that, you know, never type too much in chat, but, you know, we'll get a new channel and lurk over there, see what's going on, whatever. You might even have some trolls over there. You never know.
Oh yeah, I just got threatened to have.
Hey, Tommy. What kind of soundboard do you have there?
I use a it's not actually a soundboard, but I use a push button board, is what I would call it. Push button board, called a Stream Deck. Okay, so all it is a bank of push buttons, and you can configure those push buttons to pop up a window on your computer, or play a sound, or configure it to do something, a mouse movement or something, or have sounds go up and down, or pop up sounds or whatever. Like I have this here one.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen.
That's the soundboard part of it, right? We're pushing that button. I have configured to be Biden's having that little sound clip, and that's all that button will ever do.
So, Tommy, what's happening now in Canada? This act, this Emergencies Act, unconstitutional. I saw you post about it this afternoon, but I didn't really understand. What are they going to do?
What happened is basically a convoy went across Canada and ended up in Ottawa. And basically sat in Ottawa, and truckers wanted to talk to Trudeau, and Trudeau wouldn't talk to anyone. So he brought about the Emergencies Act, which is already on the books, which is, hey, this is a way that you can quell any big uprisings by the citizens, right? So he illegally brought upon the citizens of Canada the Emergencies Act. There were 4 things that had to be, considered, dotted off before you could enact the Emergencies Act, and none of those things actually happened. So he pushed it through just because he didn't like the truckers in Ottawa. They were causing him a thorn in his side, right? That was his way of getting away with it, or getting rid of it.
So what happens? I mean, does he face any kind of criminal charges, anything like that?
Well, what happened is a lower court has thrown out the Emergencies Act, right, and as being unconstitutional. But so now Trudeau is brought it up to the highest court in the land, and it is yet to be undecided is what's going to happen at this point.
So if it's found unconstitutional, right? I mean, is he going to face any charges? I mean, he won. I mean, he kind of screwed over. He should. People, right? Yeah.
Some people are saying that, he should be in jail. Some people are saying he should be in jail for doing what he did. Absolutely. If he broke a law in doing that, which I think he did. You don't just willy-nilly, sick a law on everyone, even though it's illegal in every manner of the way that it was enacted or brought about. It should be thrown out, and he should be, face the court, face the judge. But the problem is that politicians are so slippery. It's like, the American politicians, you hear them going, well, he did this wrong, they did that wrong, somebody did this wrong, but rarely do you see somebody actually land in jail for something. You know how politicians are.
So in New York, the governor signed in a law where if you don't have to test positive for anything now, if you have any kind of symptoms, they can restrict you from travel, and it goes as far as actually detaining you. That is the most that's for real. And in case there's another pandemic, and they warned us about this, and people were like, "Oh, come on, blah blah blah." Now they can do it. No, you don't even have to test positive based on the way you look. This is what they're saying. So
it's almost like a lot of it is your local, or in your provincial or your state government has sort of the final say on what you can and you can't do. Yeah. And because of the mandates and the COVID things that have happened in the past, they've really, really reeled in what they can and can't do. Well, what they can do, basically. And they're doing a lot more now based on the fact that they were able to during those mandates. And now they go, well, we're doing it because, hey, it might happen in the future again, so we want to be prepared. So we're, taking away your rights here a little bit at a time, and people are laying back and going, yeah, okay, go for it.
That's what they do here with the gun laws too. It's like, a little bit at a time, and eventually, you're a criminal. Like in New Jersey where I live, I had to get rid of a lot of my stuff because I'm now a criminal because I possess it. There's something that I could possess 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and now they come out with these crazy laws, and I'm all criminal. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Hey Tommy.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm going to bounce. Hey, thanks for having me up. I just want to check this equipment and say hey.
Sounds good. Stream Deck is the name that you want to look up. Do a search for Stream Deck, and that's probably the key piece of equipment. And once you buy the Stream Deck, then you can program it to do what you want. You know, sounds or visual or whatever.
I'll have to check that out. Appreciate it.
So
thank
check
you.
it out. Okay, sounds good.
Bye.
See you later. Let's see. I can show you that. Hang on a second here. If I have a cable that's long enough on this thing, everything falls out of it. This is what it looks like, the Stream Deck, which is like this. And the model I have has a lot of buttons on it. So anyways, it's just a board with a bunch of buttons, but each of these buttons is programmable, and it has a little lit up LCD screen. So each one of these buttons is a miniature LCD screen with something programmed to it and a visual feedback, you know, that I look at it and I know, oh, that's what that one does. Like this one here does FBI open up.
FBI, open up!
Okay, so that's what that's all about.
Yeah, Michelle got one of those, and she does her applause.
Yeah, exactly. Although, you know, you got to tell her, don't keep using the same one over and over again. Like, you got to use them sparingly. Like, people, well, like me, the guy that has one of these things, I watch some people that get these things, and it's like they make that fatal mistake of playing the same thing over and over, and it's so cringe, you know what I mean? But, you know, what can I say?
Michelle.
It's Michelle. Yeah, exactly. I know. I watch her, you know, once in a while, watch her technique and whatever she's doing. Always doing something there, so I have to give her credit, you know.
The hardest working person on YouTube. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who works harder than her.
Well, Sable. Okay, over here, you got Sable, I would say. Sable has got a channel, goes hard on it, is doing music and graphics and stuff like that, and is like always, you know, have some kind of a premiere or something like that. So, you know, definitely somebody that goes hard. What's that telescope in there? More people watch my chat than watch Nuts. Oh, Nuts. Okay. Well, Nuts has a small channel, you know. People with small channels are going to have small chat until you build up your numbers a little bit, you know. And even my channel, look at, I don't have very many people watching right now, even though I've got a kind of a medium-sized channel. My numbers come and go. One moment there's 150, next minute there's 50. You know, it's ebb and tide all the time.
You think it's because of the, you know, the drama thing? Like, this is one thing I noticed. It's sad, but people love drama. People love fighting. People love, you know, interaction like that. It's kind of weird.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's because of the drama. You'll get 150, no problems at all with drama, yelling and screaming and yelling and calling people out and stuff like that. You'll get 200 people watching, and it's because people love that. They love it, you know, interaction, and especially if somebody's taking a fall, you know, somebody's calling somebody else out and somebody's hitting on somebody.
Well, anyway, listen, I wanted to tell you, you know, I apologize if I didn't realize I was doing that. I thought that was.
Oh, no. I don't mind it. Like, I like what you're doing. Actually, there's a couple of people that come on my channel and purposely troll the other guests on the channel to get something out of them, you know what I mean?
No,
and that's really
good.
what it's all about. Like, that's no problem doing that. It's just when people, and it's not you that I'm talking about, but when people start to get really vile in the words that they're using, that's what I don't like, you know. Other than that, I don't mind a bit of drama.
All right, well, Tommy, thank you very much. Have a great night. And, you know, again, sorry.
Okay, someone's at your door there, by the way.
FBI, open up!
Check it out. Okay, well, there you go. That was Noodles there. Let's go back to the show here. Hang on. Let me get me on the smaller me. Oh, don't eat all my chicken. Oh, we got some food that came in here for me. Some chicken, so I'm going to go for a bite to eat or something here.
Okay, sounds good. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what's happening here. Howdy. So these guys can actually get out of here if they want to. they can go that way. So again, nobody's forcing anybody to stay. Everybody can go if they want to. The only guys that can't go are the guys that are stuck in between.
Okay, I'm going to go for a bite to eat, but let me just reel this back a little bit here, just because
-20.
I was talking over a lot of that. I'll drop this off of here, or I'll drop me off of here, and I'm going to go for a little bite to eat. I'll be back in a little bit, okay?
Good, man.
Good. What do you think of the event so far?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, me too. I can't complain.
Yeah, I'm filming you too, man.
Good. Sounds
Okay,
good.
just so you know.
I'm on PressPad, PRESSPAD.
PA what?
PressPad.
Okay.
Like press.
Perfect, because we need real news, not fucking.
Yeah, right on. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Here. Go back to the news.
Yeah.
I seen it all. Okay, we're moving down into the crowd, back into the action. But it's gonna get noisy. This is about where it gets noisy. But it's showtime down here at any moment because these guys are always honking their horns. In fact, their horns are going to be worn out pretty soon. Let's do that new trucker song. Wow. I told them, pull it for 3 seconds. Okay, let's see what my buddies are doing over at the warm-up tent. And the warm-up fire. These guys are rock stars over here, helping keep people warm. They're doing their thing. Who's this? What kind of news is this? What news is this? Not too sure. Whenever you see a big camera like that, you know it's somebody with bucks, somebody with big money. We're not sure who that is. Some kind of, can you tell what kind of mainstream media this is? Hey, who are you guys with here?
Sorry, sir.
What TV are they with?
Let them do their job, sir. It doesn't matter. It's okay.
Oh, you're not going to tell me what station you're with. Does that mean CBC? Are you guys with CBC?
Doesn't matter, sir.
No way. Not CBC. Okay, these guys are some kind of media here. I asked this guy who they're with, and he said, let them do their job. And not to be asking questions of the media. I asked him what media they're with, and he said, let them do their job. Yeah. You know what that means? That means you guys don't want to tell us who the hell you are? Get out of here.
Sorry, sir.
Hey? Put it this way. Mainstream media is really not welcome because all they do is give us a bad black name, right?
Come here for a second. Tell me what they said to you just now.
What?
These guys.
This guy right here. Take a look at him right here.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, I
Why
asked
would
this
they do
guy
that?
what media they're with, right? And he said, mind my own business and let them do their job, right?
So you don't want to answer the question.
Isn't that what you said, guy? Well, yeah, but who you with? Who you with, guy?
Question two.
Which media are you with?
Sorry,
Eh?
guys. Okay, that's
Okay.
I'm not going to get too close.
He's with the mafia media or something, by the looks of it. Because the guys are getting irritated here that we're getting media coming out here under guise of being some kind of private media. And meanwhile, it's like one of the mainstream media. Just look at that camera.
Like, hey, the
Get out of here.
What kind of camera is that? Get out of here.
Out of here! Out of here! Nazis! Get out of here, you Nazis! Get
Yeah.
out of here! If you guys can't tell the
Yeah, mainstream media is not
Get
wanted
out of
here.
here.
This is not a mainstream
Get out of
event,
here.
okay? It's not for you. Go away. There you go. They're going away. Hey, you guys. These guys are mainstream media. I asked them who they're with. They said, mind your business. Yeah. What does that tell you? So they show up here kind of undercover, right? That's probably could be any of the big mainstream, any of them, right? But when the guy tells you, they're not going to tell you and mind your business. That's terrible.
Chase them away.
Like, I hate to say it, but when people show up like incognito at an event that they have nothing to do with, and you ask them a simple question like who they are, and they fail to answer because there's some kind of fake mainstream media, and it's some kind of a who knows what undercover. And as you can see, my own business. Fake news, fake news.
Just as much as right of anybody
Fake
else.
news, fake news.
Go home, fake news. Go home, fake news. Go home, fake news.
News, go home. Fake news, go home. Fake news, go home. Fake news, go home. Oh, I didn't see you guys here. Sorry. We don't like fake news. Sorry. Those guys, I we have those guys, they're with, they told me to shut up and mind my own business. That's your news crew right there. So that's why they're getting
Sticks and stones.
Yeah.
Sticks and stones.
I know.
Harass them like they harass us!
Well, yeah, sticks and stones, but Trudeau throws sticks and stones all the time too, you know. And that's what we're tired about. Any kind of sticks and stones from anybody. Okay.
Hey, I'm just gonna stop the video there, just because I'm not here to kind of supervise it a little bit here, see what's going on. But we'll be back here with the video in a little bit. I'm just eating a little bit of chicken. Okay. So we'll be back in a bit. Here's a little music just to keep you going. How about that? Okay, where am I? Right here. We're back. We're back for the attack. Ooh, I'm kind of loud in my ears here. Hang on. Somehow my little miniature volume control on my headset got bumped to a high level, and now I'm sounding way too loud. But hey, nice to see everyone in there. Let's see, I missed a bunch of the chat. Hopefully everyone was being, really nice to each other. But yeah, we were talking about the Emergencies Act as being unconstitutional, got thrown out of court there. And that's where it stands at the moment. And yeah, we have the link pinned to the top of the chat there. If somebody wants to come in on the chat here, more than welcome. Otherwise, let's see what everyone has to say in the chat, at least right now. Cindy, no kidding. Oh, talking about Scumdog. Youngest son, heart attack, job, not good. That could be a problem. Absolutely. I'm in the middle of a conversation there, so. Let's see. The hats are how you break 1,000. Not sure what that means. Had 5 vaccines. You're perfectly fine. 5? Well, then a few more won't hurt. Hats with netting. I got my hat here. The Convoy to Ottawa 2022 hat you can see here, which is pretty much indicative of the fact that I was on or in the convoy to Ottawa, and the year was 2022. So there you go. The rest is history. Showed you a little bit about that convoy a little bit earlier there, and you can make your own mind up as to whether it was successful, whether you remember it at all. But we're still talking about it, a couple of years after the fact. Well, there you go. Lapoose, good to see you. Big ups. Big ups from Jamaica, man. For anyone out there. Good to see you. R.I.P. Where's that latest convoy? Isn't there some kind of a convoy that's moving? You know what? I've heard people bashing the convoy for literally days, but I have not a clue in my mind as to where this so-called convoy is starting from and going to. So, Telescope, what do you know about the latest convoy? You're probably more in the know than anyone. Yeah, well. Hey, it wasn't the so-called convoy wasn't about vaccines. It was about mandates. You know what I mean? It was about the lockdowns. It was a lockdown thing. It wasn't about, like, there were lots of people that were in the convoy that had been vaccinated. So it wasn't about whether you were vaccinated or not. It was just on how restrictive all of the lockdowns were at that moment in time, because a lot of the people had already been vaccinated. You know what I mean? They needed it in order to go from point A to B and stuff like that, cross borders and stuff like that. But it was still being even more restrictive, even though you went with the program. The government was still, being, a tough ball player, hard ball player, at the game, to generalize on what was going on back then. But, it was, you guys have it wrong if you're arguing about, who got the shot or whatever, because we don't want to talk about that in the chat. But yeah, regardless of what side you're on, it was about people were, even if you had gotten the shot, you still didn't like all the hoops that you had to jump through all over the place in order to just get around and do things, especially border cross or whatever. maybe even Province Cross. It was a place in time where what do you call that? What do you call that where you should be more encompassing, more loving, more, in agreement with people that maybe have differing opinions? What do you call that? More, inclusive. Okay. Inclusive. Okay. So in my mind, Trudeau should have been more inclusive as to who he was willing to talk to. He wasn't being very inclusive to, like lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people. It was like he was going, I can because I'm the Prime Minister of a democracy, Trudeau. That's what you forget. When you did what you did, you forgot that this is a democracy. And the democracy has the right to be able to vote out somebody that they don't like. We should dig up some statistics to see how Trudeau is doing. But hang on, before we do that, let's just fly over and see what else we can dig up here on this story. Because it is a story. It's a pretty good one. There were lots of people out there. There's an indication of how many people were out there. And there were people out there on a daily basis as this whole thing was going on. Like, all those people were there every day in front of the Parliament buildings. It was quite the thing to see, honestly.
It's your turn to drive.
Oh, hang on. What does Jagmeet have to say about... Hang on, about this. Oops. Hang on. Let me exit that music out of there. Here's a clip with Jagmeet. If I can center this in here a little better. Here we go. Okay. Here's the clip from Jagmeet on the whole deal. Jag, what's up?
From the beginning, we said, and we maintain that the reason we were in that crisis was a direct failure of Justin Trudeau's leadership and also other levels of government that failed to act to take the challenge presented seriously. Their inaction resulted in a serious crisis where we reluctantly supported the invocation of the emergencies measures.
Hang on. Did you hear what he said? This is the leader of the New Democratic Party in Canada. Say that with a little tongue-in-cheek. But anyways, he says he reluctantly supported Trudeau on the using of that Emergencies Act. So, talk about backpedaling, Listen.
From the beginning, we said, and we maintain that the reason we were in that crisis was a direct failure of Justin Trudeau's leadership and also other levels of government that failed to act to take the challenge presented seriously. Their inaction resulted in a serious crisis where we reluctantly supported the invocation of the emergencies measures. We said that was something that we reluctantly supported. And then we also were very open to the Rouleau Commission.
But you did support it.
Accountability measures to assess whether it was the right decision and what needed to be done.
It was the wrong decision, and you knew it at the time because you had
a direct failure of Justin Trudeau's leadership and also
because
other
he
levels
was
of government that failed
in the circle of the government. He was there. He saw it all happening in front of him, right? And he chose, as always, because let's face it, let's call them what they are. He's left of like pretty far left, as a matter of fact. Actually, probably way further left than the Liberals even. But they always vote along with the Liberals on everything to support their Liberal buddies, because they're all basically lefties, and they jump from one party to the other. You know, whether you're Liberal or NDP, pretty much the same thing. So that's where that lies with him. Oh, we reluctantly supported our buddies that we support all the time with all kind of garbage. There you go. That's what he has to say. Jagmeet Singh. Lots of old clips coming in from the convoy at different locations, like this here.
He hailed the leper, just like he gave sight the jab, believe it or not. Just like he hailed the leper, just like he gave sight the jab, believe it or not.
Oh no. Yeah. Okay. Well, there was stuff, you know, like on the convoy, like that, you know, where the guy is talking about the lepers or something like that. Where, okay, I'm not going to say that there were not people that were all over the place, right? Because you had literally thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people that were coming together. So you knew that there were going to be some people that were, you know, wackos and whatever, and had certain points of view and whatever that were absolutely not your point of view. But, you know, and they're going to be vocal, and they're going to say their thing, and they're going to make the whole organization look bad, or the whole convoy look bad. You know what I mean? So, you know, you knew that was going to happen, and it did happen. And that's just the way it goes. It's like having some kind of a protest. Or let's say that you were going to a protest, okay? Almost anyone can show up at that protest and say whatever they want. And that's what, you know, happened at this thing here too. And that was a good example of it there, which is kind of interesting. But let's see what else we can dig up here. Yeah, so anyways, this is the big story right here, that the Liberal government's invoking of the Emergencies Act during the Freedom Convoy was unreasonable, unjustified, by a ruling that happened there. So that's January 23rd. Today is when this came out. So it's good to hear, because of what I saw, I didn't think that the Emergencies Act was justified at all. At all. And we'd have to go over it. I think there's like 4 points that have to be met in order for the Emergencies Act to be invoked. And I don't think any of those points were met. So that's where we're at as a country at this point, is the citizens wanting to be heard by the government, and the government not allowing it to happen. And the rest of it is pretty much history, right? Some people are still fighting about it, you know, with some of this stuff that's going on here. Yeah, that sounds like some copyright stuff there. But this is a interesting shot here. These are shots of the convoy as it was going towards Ottawa. And you can see, you see on the sides of the road? Right there. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I remember a lot, is all of the people on the sides of the road. All the little towns that you'd go through, they all had somebody on the side of the road. At least, even if it was one person, there were people on the sides of the road. Anything from, I remember seeing in the middle of nowhere a mom standing on the side of the road with her little child, both waving as the convoy went by. It was amazing. Like there, middle of nowhere, snowbank, and people are standing there, and wherever there was a road, wherever they could stand. And the roads were terrible. It was the middle of winter, you know. Like, this is the people kind of rebelling. You could say protesting, and it was all done in the middle of winter, at the coldest time of the year. Really. So the worst, you know, it wasn't bad driving. Look at that. Look at that sign on the side of the road. That looks like Ontario. That looks like Ontario. Yeah, that's a pretty good little clip there. That little shot. Let's watch that one again.
All this had been rounded up the night before in a frenzy of high-speed driving all over Los Angeles.
It's from Sheldon Yakuchuk off of Twitter.
Not that we needed all that for the trip, but once you get locked into a serious drug collection, the tendency is to push it as
Move to our next track here.
The only thing that really...
There we see him again. Yeah, it brings back memories. This is like small town anywhere, but I think it's somewhere Ontario, Manitoba-ish, by the amount of snow and whatever there on the ground. There's Trudeau. Of course, whoever did this takes a hit at him for wearing the blackface there. But, you know, he was like a, you know, comedian, whatever, funny guy, whatever, doing his impressions of people back in the old days. People were out there. There were lots of people, considering how cold it was. And that there were lots of trucks. People really doctored up their trucks a lot, like put signs on them, you know, like lots of different signs, like lots of flags. Saw that crane or something like that. Cranes all over the place with flags and stuff like that. This is kind of showing the rural area. God keep our land. Yeah, it was pretty good. Very good. Okay, so what's the scoop? What do we do now? That's basically the show for today. I didn't have anything else planned. If we had a guest on here, I'd bring him up, but nobody's coming on to the panel here, or if somebody was on the convoy, that'd be good to come up. Yeah, new subs. Oh, you're bugging nuts about his channel. Hey, it's a small channel. Everyone has a small channel, and it's hard to go places, you know. Like when things are happening, Telescope, like even a couple of months back, when there was more channels doing stuff, there were more people actually watching. So whenever anybody went live, you could, you know, suck 200 people watching over from somebody else, you know, that's watching a bunch of other stuff out there. But the number of people actually sitting around watching, I think, is probably fallen off here. Who knows? Plus, depends on what you're showing too. But it's not super good. It is what it is. Yeah, exactly. Everyone has a tough time getting people to watch. It is what it is. Yeah, you need a soundboard with some, crazy sounds on it or something. Like, oh, you win. I don't know. We need a crazy bell. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm beginning to sound like... Oops. Wrong button. Where's Biden?
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
the Supreme Court justice, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
The radical left. I like that. I like that. Trump has kind of picked up on that term, He's, really pushing that term, radical left. He practically never gives a speech without using that term. And I've kind of picked up on that too. The radical left. And all of a sudden, this is see the center of my screen here. Okay, and which way are you watching here? On this side here, you're the radical right, okay? And on this side here, you're the radical left, okay? And there is nobody in the middle, okay? There is no middle. Forget it. You're either on one side or the other. And don't come in here and try and say, oh, I'm in the middle. I'm like neither right nor left. No, don't give me any of that. That's saying stuff like that is like pretty much
emotional damage.
I know. It's given me emotional damage trying to even think about that. It is what it is. We have what we have. There's a right, there's a left, there's a blue, there's a red. Just so that you can hate on somebody. They've set up two systems. Just so you can hate on even more people. They've got a bunch of systems up here in Canada. It's not just two. You can hate on more than two, or more than one rather. Even more than two, for that matter. We actually have the Communist Party up here. You can actually vote for the Communist Party if you want to. Go figure. It's on the ballot. Like that's how loose things are up here. Loose lips sink ships. Well, we're already sunk up here in Canada. As soon as you invite the Communist Party on your voting ballot, you're sunk. But there's lots of other parties up here that are kind of really similar to communists anyways, even if they're not on the docket. Yeah, it's not about numbers. For everyone out there, everyone's so hardcore on numbers, and it's not about numbers. It's not. It's about, well, at least for me, it's not. It's like having fun. Just as long as you have fun, and your numbers will go up or down or whatever, depending on, really for me, it's time of the day. If I go live at 12 noon, I think that's when my most number of people watching are going to be, because you get everyone that's sitting at work on their computer or whatever, that's just messing around, that'll watch you. But later on at night, they're maybe doing something else, right? You don't really have as many viewers as time goes on from 12 noon. Like it goes good until about 5 and then drops off substantially until like nighttime, 12 o'clock or whatever. Unless there's a lot of drama. And then that picks up to like about 200 people viewing. So after a while, you get to realize how it all works on YouTube. And it doesn't matter. Like really, those guys that have, hundreds of thousands of subs still only have like 500 to 1,000 people watching, so you need huge numbers enough to get like a huge number of people. Like, I mean, like 500 people or something watching. So, and those are people that have been doing stuff for a long time or whatever, or maybe did something, whatever, with their channel to make it more wantable, watchable, subscribable, viewable. You know, like if a channel, for example, hired somebody to pump some content, then you could make it more interesting. Not sure what this little bit is here. Hang on, let me cut this in here. I don't know what this Freeland bit is here, so let's see if we can hear.
With how you acted and how you wrote the regulations you did, including in that PCO memo, there's a warning that the decisions you're taking and how you're writing them were open to constitutional challenge. Looking back, was there a necessary steps you had to take to minimize the constitutional impact of these regulations? And did you do a good job of respecting Canadian civil liberties in writing those regulations? Last question.
Look, I truly do not want to minimize the fact that we took these decisions with a heavy heart. This was not a situation we wanted to find ourselves in, and these were not actions we took with any satisfaction or relish. This was, however, and I want people to remember that, an extremely tense time. The safety of individual Canadians was under real threat, as Minister LeBlanc has pointed out. Our national security was under real threat, our national security including our economic security. That was the reality of that moment. We explored many, many avenues to bring this to an end. This was an option of the last resort. We believed at the time that it was absolutely necessary for us to act, and for us to act in a way that minimized the physical danger to all Canadians. That was really important to us. We believed we were doing something necessary and something legal at the time. That was our belief then. That was our belief as we testified at length.
How about now?
To Chief Justice Rouleau. That continues to be my belief today. As our Minister of Justice has said, we will, confident in that belief, be appealing this decision. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So that's where the government is going to appeal the decision right there. So that was Krista Freeland. National security was under real threat during the peaceful Freedom Convoy demonstration in Ottawa and across the country. Yeah, actually, it was kind of more than that, you know, because you had the border was being blocked down in Windsor, I do believe. So you had that, which was a completely separate event from what was going on in Ottawa, right? And you had also the Coots thing that was going on. So you had like 3 separate things that were going on in the country that prompt them to do that. But there was not any one of those things that should have prompted that happening. It was the inability of the government to actually talk to the people that were in Ottawa. They didn't talk to anybody. They just sat there and let the thing fester until it finally got to a point where, you know, Freeland and people like her thought, well, we can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. No, you simply could have talked. Like, that's how stupid this whole thing is, really. And people don't understand this, is that when the convoy went to Ottawa, they went there to talk to somebody. They were completely shunned by Ottawa, shunned by her, shunned by Trudeau, shunned by the government. there was nothing that happened. There was no discussion that happened. You know, where's the proof? Where's the receipts of any kind of discussion, you know, in a meaningful way with the government? It didn't happen because Trudeau called everyone a terrorist and a racist, and they even had the slogans on the front of the trucks. You saw it. It was terrible. But anyways, it happened, and the rest is history. Hey, so yeah, with that being said, I think I will end the stream. Thanks a lot for being in here. We're not really going anywhere here at this point. And I had fun, but thanks a lot. See you all later. Bye for now. Whoop, whoop. Big ups. Catch you later on the next stream. Bye for now.